Hi everyone, this is video 3 of the hand drawing hand guide. Okay, so previously we've drawn the hand and then we've copied and rotated the hand twice so that we've got our hand drawing the hand. Now we need to shade it. Okay, now I've made up this tone shading guide, which is a good bit of practice for us. And I'm going to go through this first just to explain what I mean by shading and how we approach shading, okay, because then we'll get a better result. Okay, now when we're blending and shading, we've of course got two tones. We've got the lightest, which is literally not touching the piece of paper, leaving it white. That's the lightest that it can be. Now if I look at my hand in front of me, none of my hand is white. Okay, none of my hand is shiny enough that when light touches it, it goes completely white. Now that tells me that all of my hand needs shading. Okay, also none of my hand is completely pitch black. Apart from maybe some of these creases down here may get pretty dark, okay, but none of it's completely dark. So that will tell me that none of my hand needs to be really completely black, okay. Now when I'm shading, that means I'll be using these tones, these light and dark values, okay. That means I need to practice my shading technique. Now I've drawn these boxes here for you so that we can practice this. Now, of course, it's very easy to press dark as hard as you can, and pressure is the way that you get the darkest tone you can with a pencil. Of course, pencil lead is grey, so that is the darkest you can get. Now pushing as hard as you can, that is the darkest you can get. I may be able to layer this once. Now layering is where you go over what you've done already and you shade it a different direction, pressing hard. That's as dark as I can get. If I hold it up to the camera, you'll see that's probably as hard as I can push, really. Okay, and then of course the lightest I can go is white, leaving it completely. Okay, now this is where the skill comes in, shading this tone here. Okay, this tone is me literally holding the pencil. I hold it far away because the closer I hold it to this end, the harder I can push. Whereas if I hold it far away, I can't push down as hard onto the piece of paper. So if I hold it far away and push as lightly as I can, I might be able to get a very, very light grey. Now you can barely see that on the camera, okay, but that's me with literally no pressure, and I'm not going to layer it at all either. I'm not going to go over it again in a different direction because that will just make it darker. Okay, now if I do that again, I've got the same tone again. This is just as light as the one before. Okay, if I layer that, so I go over it in another direction, pressing exactly the same, not pressing any darker, but I've put on twice as much pencil now. Okay, I've put on double the amount, so it will be twice as dark. Okay, and I can do exactly the same thing going on and on and on here, getting darker and darker and darker. Okay, the trick is always work from light to dark, okay, because as soon as you go that dark, you'll find that that is impossible to rub out. Okay, if you press really hard, you can't go back. Okay, so I'm going to skip through this top stage and then I'm going to show you how to blend. Okay. Hi everyone. Now I've just gone through the boxes here, going from light to dark. Again, layering up, pressing harder as I go. Okay, this is just a bit of practice, so it doesn't matter if it's a little bit messy. Okay, this idea here, this blending, is harder to do. Okay, and this is why it takes a lot of practice. If we start at the darkest tone here and press it hard as we can to get that pressure and that dark tone in, okay, what I can do is I can start by pressing very hard, and as I move my pencil, I start pressing softer and softer and softer and softer. And the result I get is a change from dark to light. Now that's all well and good, but I was meant to end here. So I need to make this darker. Oh no, what do? I can't rub it out. So I can now go to that light stage where I was pressing as lightly as I could, and I start to press darker and darker as I move on. Now I don't stop when I get to here, I carry over. And now what I'm doing is I'm layering over what I have done with what I'm doing now. I'm creating another layer here, and because I've shaded already, it's going to get darker when I go over it with pencil again. Now what I've now done is created a gradient that goes from light to dark, and I've extended my original work. So I've pulled it out from here to here. Okay, and I can now refine that again with layering. I can go over this and I go, actually I want this bit to be a bit darker here. So I can again go back over this and layer it by pushing hard and getting softer. And because I'm now adding a third layer, I can pull out the darker bit to where I need it to be. Okay, but remember, with a pencil, because it's lead, all you can do is make something darker. You can't make anything lighter without using a rubber, which isn't the ideal situation. Okay, so now moving on to my drawing hand image. There's my piece of work, and again, I know that yours will look better. I'm sure it will. Okay, I get my hand in front of me. Hello. Okay, here's my hand. Of course, I needs to be holding a pen. Ta-da. Now the pen is black. That's going to be my dark bit. That is actually going to be very dark. Of course, there is a bit of light here where the light hits the middle of the pen. I would expect some of you budding artists to be trying to draw that in. Okay, I can look at my thumb. Here's a great example. See, the shadow here hits the bottom of my thumb, and about here it changes from dark to light. I'm observing, I'm looking at my thumb, and I'm not just going, yeah, it's light in one bit and it's dark in another bit. It gets dark at a certain point. Okay, those creases aren't black. They're darker than this because I can still see them, but they're not black. Okay, I can draw them in. Okay, and again, it's always best to draw in lightly to start off with. We're still sketching at this stage. That's where my thumb wrinkles are going to be, and where my actual thumb nail is going to be. Okay, and then I can shade in using again my tone. I'm going with light first. Now this isn't white, it's light. So I'm going to, with very, very light pressure, put in a bit of shading. And again, I'm holding my pencil from far away so that I don't push too hard. When I want to get darker, I'm still going to do this light bit first. Okay? I'm not pushing harder because I can't control that as well. I'm instead going in with this grey, and then I'm going to layer it. I'm going to blend over the top, and as I add another layer of pencil, it will get darker. Okay, and I can bring that around here as well. I'm not shading very neatly, I'm just making a mess. Okay, you're going to be shading a lot better than me. This is just an example. And then again, if I want it to be darker, I can add another layer over the top. Okay, blending as softly as possible so that I don't get those horrible pencil lines that I'm getting. And it's getting darker now as it's going towards the bottom. I need to make sure that I'm not pressing too hard because I don't want it to go black. I just want it to be dark. Okay, now I can observe here that there's a little dent here. Now I can take my time to go over this little bit again, making that dark, and I can go back over those lines that I've gotten rid of. Again, going over them again to make them darker. And as I do this, I'm creating the definition that the light and the dark builds. Okay, and that's blending. Okay, give it a go, see how you do, and ask me if you have any questions. Okay, good luck.